Ever had a dozen good intentions live rent-free in your head while nothing actually got done? I have. I used to wake up with a half dozen plans, sprint through the day, and then wonder why I hadn't finished a single one. The culprit wasn't motivation so much as mental clutter. Too many tiny items living in working memory, competing for attention. Today, we're going to turn that noise into a few tiny spoken habits that collapse planning friction to under a minute. The framework I use is the habit loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. It sounds simple because it is. The cue is the trigger that starts the loop. The craving is the internal pull toward a result. Less stress, a cleared inbox, a completed idea. The response is the tiny action you actually do. The reward is the feeling that reinforces the loop, so you'll do it again tomorrow. I spoke with a cognitive psychologist who reminded me that our working memory is small and gets overloaded fast, and that's why good intentions fall apart. We solve that overload by moving items out of the head and into a consistent, tiny routine, ideally something you can say out loud. Here are 3 micro routines I've used and tested with busy founders, remote workers, and people who identify as neurodivergent. Each one is voice first. You can speak the lines out loud, into your phone, to a voice recorder, or into whatever task system you prefer. The goal isn't perfection, it's to remove thinking friction. First, the morning 90-second triage. Do this once in the morning, right after you get coffee, or as soon as you're awake enough to form sentences. Time it. 90 seconds is plenty. Say out loud, today, top 3 priorities. 1, say your top priority. 2, say your second. Meetings. Call out anything fixed to the clock. Quick wins under 10 minutes. Name 1 or 2. 1 energy note. I'm feeling high, medium, low. That short script does 3 things. It forces you to choose 3 priorities. It pulls calendar anchors into awareness, and it gives you a reality check on energy so you can match tasks to capacity. Saying it out loud locks it into auditory memory and makes it easier to hand off to whatever system you use. The psychologist I spoke to emphasized that saying things aloud and externalizing them frees up working memory quickly, so you stop juggling and start doing. Second, the 2-rule inbox purge. This collapses a bloated inbox into immediate action. Rule 1, if it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. Say out loud, 2-minute task, action, done. Rule 2, if it takes more than 2 minutes, create 1 next action and archive the rest. Say aloud, long task, next action, single specific next step. Defer to day timer, add to next actions. That's it. The point isn't to manage every nuance of every message. The point is to convert each incoming item into either done or the tiniest possible next step. The founder I interviewed rebuilt their calendar around the idea of single next actions and said it reduced decision paralysis because every long task had a named next move. Third, the end of day what's next script. Spend 60 seconds before you stop work. Say out loud, wrap, what went well today? 1 sentence. Main unfinished item for tomorrow. Name it and the single next action. Calendar check, tomorrow I have. List meetings, blocks, 1 luck point, 1 thing I'm grateful for. This finishes the loop. The reward piece matters. Naming what went well or what you're grateful for gives your brain a positive hit, so you're more likely to repeat the routine the next day. Across all 3 routines, keep the responses tiny. The habit literature shows that small, consistent actions beat infrequent heroic efforts. Tiny responses reduce friction and protect working memory. When the action is short and spoken, you remove the barrier of typing, deciding where to file things, and that cycle of I'll do it later that never arrives. A few practical notes that came up in my conversations. The cognitive psychologist reminded me to anchor these micro routines to existing cues after your first sip of coffee, after your last meeting, or before you open email. Anchoring builds reliability. The founder I spoke with recommended standardized language. Use the same short phrases every day because repetition trains the brain and reduces the need for decision-making. Before we close, a short word about tools. Voice-first assistants and task systems that accept spoken input can serve as your external memory. They don't replace judgment, but they do move decisions out of your head and into a trusted system, so your working memory can do what it's best at. Short-term thinking. If you're exploring options, look for tools that let you capture voice, automatically suggest a contextual next action, and sync across devices so those tiny scripts actually become part of your workflow. Try this now. Spend 90 seconds and run the morning triage aloud. Say your top 3 priorities and 1 energy check. If you want, try the inbox purge on the next 3 messages that come in. Notice how much mental space you free when you name 1 tiny next action for each open item. If this episode helped, give the routines a week and see what shifts. Next episode, we'll dig into habit stacking and a few science-backed tactics for turning those tiny wins into a momentum loop that lasts. Until then, speak the plan, pick 1 next action, and let your second brain do the heavy lifting.